Welcome to NFL World, where the NFL starts and ends. I'm your host, Jacob. And let's recap what happened in week number 11. Now, we're recording this before the Cowboys and the Raiders matchup on Monday Night Football. That recap what happened on Wednesday. But let's begin with the Thursday night game between the New York Jets and the New England Patriots. The Patriots winning the game 27-10. This is how the Patriots play. Every week, we say this all the time. Every week, it's a different contributor, a different person you wouldn't expect that makes the big difference. This game with Stephon Diggs, they could not cover him. You could tell in this game, the Jets really had a hard time in coverage. They missed Sauce Gardner. I still think they missed Quinn Williams a lot, even though if it's just not run defense, it could be third down pressures. It could be really the way he plays in the interior more than the impact itself. Because his impact is not so much he gets sacks. It's more of he just makes you have to redirect everything. But I thought the Patriots played well. Diggs had over 100 yards. They ran the ball decently well. They had some They had some big time touchdowns. You win the game 27-10, or 27-14, excuse me. We said 28-14 because divisional games are closer for no reason. It's almost a shock when the games aren't close. That's the way it is. The Jets offense, I don't give up on Justin Fields yet. Not because I think he's a good, but because I think if you're this Jets team, you have more issues than what you think you already do. You have way more issues. You really can't stop a team from throwing on you. And Brandon Stevens is a good player, but you can't ask him to cover the best receiver all the time. It's not his game. It's just not what it is. I don't think you'll have a great quarterback draft class. I don't think you have a great quarterback free agency class this year. I think the best thing you can do is you have 2 first-round picks, you have 2 second-round picks, but you have 3 first-rounders next year. In 2027, excuse me. Draft a quarterback in 2027, but build your roster in 2026. And then hope Justin Fields improves. That's what I would do because of the lack of quarterbacks this year. If you still go quarterback, it's not a bad thing, but I wouldn't do it until next year or until 2027, excuse me. I think that's just a better option. But like I said, the Patriots, I thought, played well. They're going to play these games. They're going to run the football. Even if it's not a whole lot of yardage, they're going to run the football. They are going to be making some plays through the air. They're going to let Drake May sit back there, not take so much punishment, make the throws. And if he has to stand in there, he can. And that's something you want. I think this system that they have fits what the Patriots of old wanted to do and what they want to do now. I think that fits their team a lot. And you got to give credit to Mike Vrabel and his coaching staff and the team in general on what they are doing. For the Jets, I think they are, again, so far away. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a couple more trades. Maybe they try to deal Quincy Williams, who is a free agent at the end of the year, so possibly not. I don't see them re-upping him because a rumor that was going around, and it was pretty much confirmed, was the Cowboys were in talks with the Jets on not just landing Quinn Williams, but Quincy Williams also, but it was too expensive. Had they benched him before, maybe it wouldn't have been. But they chose not to, and that was it. That's why Quincy is still in New York, even though now he is benched. But I'm not giving up on Justin Fields yet, but I don't think you have you don't have a good enough team around, and you don't run him a lot either. So I'm curious to see. I think you have so much more holes on defense than you have on offense, but I do think you need some wide receiver help too. But I would not give up on Justin Fields yet. Moving on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are the second seed in the AFC East, only looking up to the New England Patriots. The Bills beat the Buccaneers 44-32 in a game where this game was really close. It was 37-32. The Bills are driving, and the Bucks look like they stopped them on third down. But one of the young defensive backs grabs the receiver on the play by the helmet, really gets his finger in where the ear hole is of the helmet, and they called that penalty, and that extended the drive and led to the touchdown that salted the game away. What I took from this game, first of all, Josh Allen scored 3 touchdowns on the ground and threw 3 touchdown passes, becoming only the third player in NFL history to do that. He did it once before. Otto Graham was the first one to do it, so there's your NFL history lesson. But this Bills defense, this is the second thing. This is a massive thing. They can't stop the run. They are so bad against the run, and they gave up a lot of points. 32 points is a lot. They ranked pretty good against the pass. You can't give up 32 points, though. The Bucs are not great on defense either. They're really banged up as a team. They're more like San Francisco than anything else. They're down their starting running back. They're down 2 starting wide receivers. But they still scored 32 points against you. You can't have that happen. So I'm concerned about this Bills defense. Your offense, you can't ask Josh Allen to score 6 touchdowns every game. It's just not fair to him. You have to be better. And the Bucs, your defense has to be better. That's the strength of your head coach. Same thing with Sean McDermott. You got to be better defense. I don't understand why defensive coaches, when they become head coaches, the one thing they should be able to contribute or explain to their players is how to play defense. I don't get that. I really don't. And maybe that's just me being naive. But these are both defensive coaches, and yet their defenses have not played great in recent weeks. So there's a concern. There's a very big concern for both sides. But a big win for the Bills to try to get back into that playoff picture and stay there. That's where they need to be. They need to be in the playoffs because it doesn't look like the Chiefs, who we'll get into, have their hand on the throne at this point. It doesn't look like they're there right now. But a big win for the Bills. They get back on track after the loss to Miami. Let's move up to the aforementioned, or the invoked name of the Kansas City Chiefs. They went up against the Denver Broncos. The score was 22-19. The Broncos won this game. This game reminded me of the first matchup of last year. The game was 19-16. The Broncos were trying, or 19-17 was one of those. The Broncos, I believe, were just trying to tie the game, but they might have been trying to win. Who knows? I would have to go back and check. The Chiefs blocked it, and that's how they won that game. This game felt very similar. Both defenses played great. Both teams really couldn't run the football. The Chiefs only tried to run the ball 13 times. It was 14 actual, but Mahomes, if you don't count the Mahomes run, it was 13 times. So they didn't really run the ball a lot. The Chiefs didn't. The Broncos tried to, but with no J.K. Dobbins, you put all that pressure on R.J. Harvey and the third running back, McLaughlin. And they performed. They're not greatly in between the tackles. Both of them were more receiving backs, but they had a rushing touchdown by McLaughlin that put them out in front. They did a lot of good things. This game was 6-6 at halftime. Then McLaughlin scores that rushing touchdown as he gets pushed into the end zone. Chiefs do the same thing. They go down the field. They push Kareem Hunt into the end zone. Then the Chiefs score a touchdown. Travis Kelce scores his 84th career touchdown as a Kansas City Chief, making him the all-time leader in receiving touchdown for a tight end with 84. But then the extra point gets blocked. So it's 19-16 at this point. Broncos hit a game-tying field goal. Then it's going back and forth as a defense stalemate. The defense, both defenses were just stopping both offenses. Broncos got it going in the fourth quarter of their offense, had a great drive. Troy Franklin has a big time catch on the corner route that leads to the game-winning field goal for the Broncos. As the Broncos go in, I believe they said they won 7 straight. So that and most of them are one-score games, so that's very impressive. Let's start off with the Broncos. Again, not a great run offense with no J.K. Dobbins, who's out for the year with a foot injury. But they played good enough. They were good enough. They did a lot of positive things. Courtland Sutton was impactful at times when they needed him to be, and they got him the football. He was impactful. But great game by Troy Franklin. Great game by Evan Ingram in spots. Bo Nix played well. He didn't turn the ball over. Did put the ball in harm's way a couple times, but no turnovers came from it. So good job by them. And their defense played really well. They pressured Mahomes a little bit. They blitzed him a little bit, mostly at key times, but they got it. They really did do a great job. For the Chiefs, they got to run the football more. I know Pacheco was out with an injury. It was Kareem Hunt playing great at times, but this game he was not. Travis Kelce can't always be your leading receiver. He had 91 receiving yards, which they said that was the most he had in receiving yards in almost 2 years. That's crazy to think about. They did not hit on those. They had a couple deep shots that they tried and didn't connect on. That would have flipped the game early, and they just couldn't hit him. I was underwhelmed by this Chiefs offense. I did not like what they did. Mahomes threw a back-breaking interception in the third quarter. They didn't look good. They didn't look comfortable. And now this Chiefs team is 5-5. And they're 0-5 in one-score games, by the way. They're just not good at it. They're on the outside looking in. I know Denver and the LA Chargers are ahead of them, but they aren't playing well. They just aren't playing well. And it's getting hard to watch. Like they didn't run the ball a lot. Mahomes is running for his life. This offensive line's not really protecting him. It's not going well. They had 2 back-to-back holding penalties by their 2 tackles. That cannot happen. That just can't. It would have converted a first down. It would have been another Mahomes run that went for a first down that gets called back because of a holding penalty. They had another play that gets called because of a holding penalty the play before. Like, these are things they can't be doing. Can't do that. It's just not winning football. Denver is now 9-2. The Chiefs are 5-5. They got to get it going because they're going to face a lot of good teams down the stretch. And if they don't find it, it's going to be an issue. It's going to be an issue. Moving on to the final game between the Lions and Eagles. Eagles winning the game 16-9. The win was a factor in this game. 35-mile-an-hour winds. You really couldn't kick a field goal. Both kickers struggled in that aspect. But let me explain what happened. The Lions, let's start off with them, did not play great. Jared Goff struggled. They couldn't really run the football. Outside of a play that Jameson Williams that scored their only touchdown, they couldn't do anything. Missed throws, batted passes, tipped passes, it became an interception. It was not good. It was just not a good performance. The Lions didn't do a lot of good things here. They couldn't really run the ball. Gibbs, outside of the Gibbs screen passes, they couldn't really throw the football much. Like, they were not good. The play calling stunk on fourth down. They were, I believe, over 5 on fourth down, over 6 on fourth down. They were not good at it. Bad play calling, bad execution, bad game for the offense. Their defense played out of their minds. What do you want them to do? They only get up 16 points and lose a game? Yeah. You didn't play well. And this Eagles team on offense, they had 70 yards rushing from Saquon. Jalen Hurts had a couple runs, but not exactly a great game plan by them. They tried to get the ball to A.J. Brown, which they did, but they didn't really try to throw the ball down the field that much. It just felt like, even with the yardage that the Lions were giving up, they made plays when they needed it. Like, the Lions had turned the ball over, and the Eagles are driving, and they're halfway down the field, and then they just get stopped because the defensive line was taking over of the Lions. DJ Reader had a great game. There was a play that it was a third down. They're handing the ball at Saquon, and DJ Reader, I don't know if he's against the guard or the center, but he just stands him up and backs him into Saquon. And Saquon gets hit by him and now has to figure out where he's going. The ball's supposed to go up the middle of the offense. And he gets dropped by this Lions linebacking core because of that play by big DJ Reader. That's what they did. They made great job by them. But you have to say, like, this was a tough performance, a very tough performance. And if you're the Eagles, look, it's frustrating to watch the Eagles play sometimes. Their offense stalls out, but then they have a great drive. And then usually by a great throw by Jalen or a great run by Jalen or something. They had a couple great runs by Team Bigsby, which I'm surprised they don't use more of. They can't really throw the football at certain points in the game. It's weird. I don't like how they play sometimes. It's frustrating. Now they have 2 injured offensive linemen. Cam Jurgens did not return. Not exactly sure what the injury was, but he did not return. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play, if Cam Jurgens doesn't play, I wouldn't be surprised if they move Landon Dickerson to center to give them more of an ability. Because I think you honestly trust your guards more than you trust putting a backup center in the game. I just think that's more likely. But the big injury, and it was just announced, Lane Johnson had a Lisfranc injury in the game against the Lions. He got injured. He didn't return to the game, but he had a Lisfranc injury. He's going to miss some time because a Lisfranc injury is the bone in your heel or in your heel and arch area. So basically, anytime you have to step on your foot, you have to activate that bone. You have to activate those muscles, which hurts when you break it. Not exactly sure he entirely broke it. It's not considered a season-ending injury, but he's going to be out for some time, which is a massive loss because he's their best tackle. Fred Johnson's been okay at times, but he's not Lane Johnson. He's not Lane Johnson. You're not going to get that kind of protection. So I wouldn't be surprised if when the Eagles, their next opponent is the Cowboys on Sunday, would run Jalen a little more or run more bootlegs to help out the backup tackles. I wouldn't be surprised about that. For the Lions, it wasn't just the missed throws, interception, bad passes, not running enough screens. The offensive line could not protect Jared Goff, and that sped him up, got him off his spot, and I felt Jared Goff just not play well enough at that point because your defense played really well. Amik Robinson was one-on-one against A.J. Brown and was winning. Rakim Sin was one-on-one against A.J. Brown quite a bit and was winning. Like, these are things that should not be happening. The penalty at the end of the game, I do have to say this. I don't think they should have thrown the flag. It should have been picked up because both those guys are hand fighting. But if you were going to call a flag, you should have called offensive pass interference. Because the rule states pretty much, if you shove a guy, as long as you don't go complete extension as a wide receiver, we're not going to call offensive pass interference. But if you do, we're going to call it. A.J. Brown clearly goes full extension, pushes him. Watkinson doesn't really lose balance, but he kind of grabs a hold of A.J.'s wrist. But the ball's it's not a good throw. It's not really catchable. So why did they call it? I don't understand that. I just never understood that. So it was not a great call by the official, in my opinion. It salted the game away. Because if the Lions had gone that back, because that was a third down play, they would have had one timeout, a minute left, driving down the field, potentially, for a game-tying drive. I go back to the fourth down. They were not good on fourth down. The play calling stung. It doesn't surprise me the play calling was so bad, because when Dan Campbell called the plays in his first year, the play calling was awful. And that's why he gave it to Ben Johnson. In this game, the play calling was awful. Against the Commanders, no, because the Commanders don't really have a defense. That's kind of what it is. So I'm curious to see what this Lions offense looks like next week. But if it doesn't look good, a lot of people are going to be saying, Dan Campbell, give the play calling back. Doesn't work. Just doesn't work. But let me know in the comments, did your team win this week? And also, should that have been an offensive pass interference on A.J. Brown instead of defensive pass interference on Watkinson? Let me know in the comments. For NFL World, I'm Jacob Bieber. Out.